Yo, what's good? Okay, today we are breaking down I'm Proud of Us, a song I just dropped recently. I'm not even gonna like do all that extra stuff. I'm gonna just get straight into it. So come on, come here. Let's go. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing I did was I got this loop from Splice. I really like using Splice loops because I feel like it gives me such a great like median to start with, and I love taking other people's ideas and just kind of innovating them. So I started with a Splice loop and I pitched it down a little bit, but this is what it sounded like originally. So then I took that and I pitched it down 500 cents, which is I think just five semitones, and then we got this. And from that, I used that as the main melody for the whole beat, and I didn't really switch it except this one part of me just kind of pitching it down and then adding these like effects to it, which then sounds like this. And then to get that effect, I used gross beat, which was just it was like a slow triplet, and then the empty thing on the bottom, slow triplet. So it has like this little rail up, rail down, but in like a slower way. It's like a halftime, but it's not halftime. And then we got this filter freak. This is just kind of pulling. I don't know what this filter is really doing. I can't even explain it to you, but it gave it like an interesting sound to me, and I liked it. And then also just EQs, just to kind of get all that extra stuff that I didn't want out, and then have it, sound good in the moment. And that's how I got that effect. And then after that melody, I just went straight into like the drums. I believe I started with the drums actually, and then no, I had the sample obviously, and then I brought the drums in. And the first thing I did in the drums is this 808 pattern. And then that stays the same throughout the entire song. I don't think I switched the 808 once. So the 808 is that same pattern throughout the whole song. I used this 808 from Earthquake. This it's like the same kind of. I think it's literally the same exact sound. It was probably pulled exactly from Earthquake, but I just like the way it sounded, so I used that. And then from there, added a simple clap. I mean, sorry, added a simple kick. Nothing crazy. Just following the 808 kind of, just so it has the extra kick to it, and those together sound like this. And then from there, I went into the snare, which is the same throughout the entire song as well. I believe it's just a regular, simple. Yeah, okay, there we go. It's a regular, simple snare, and then with this one extra little, and then that's the same throughout the entire song. From the snares, I added this clav. I love using clavs instead of hi hats for like that hi hat sound. So where you would put like a normal two step for a hi hat, I would tend to put a clav just because it adds like a different sound to it. I did it in Serious, and I also did it in another song, but these are the two songs I really like do it for. That's the same throughout the whole song as well, and the same exact pattern, just looped. And then from that, add the basic like extra hi hats, extra or not hi hats, extra hats and stuff like that. So like there's this open hat that I added. And then you see I added two extra ones right here just for like extra substance. And then from there, added a tom that only plays in specific parts, but when it does play, it just hits. It's just that. Just something for like, it's just a fill really. I just took this tom from New Magic One and I turned it into a fill. I really like using Tyler sounds because they're so. I feel like they're just so unique compared to like the rest of sounds that I normally would use. So from that tom, I then come down here and I add some, literally just a regular two step of a hi hat. This is to add on top of the clop, so it just has more extra oomph to the beat. Like, you know what I mean? So just a regular ass two step, nothing special. It's just a two step, and then from that, that's like all the beat except this one extra sound that I had. I'm not sure what this is exactly. Let me find out for ya. This is okay. It was just a loop. It was these mallets. I also got these from Splice, and it goes. The mallets go with the sample that I used originally. And I just took those and I chopped them to where I wasn't using the entire loop, just so I had like one. And that's just the same throughout the whole thing. And then to give that extra sauce, and so it just wasn't copying the loop that I got from it, I took that sound and added this effect to it. It's a delay, but it's like a crazy delay. So it's like, it's just wild the way it comes in. All this stuff, making it sound how it sounds, and then this flanger, and then a flanger and a flangus, and then just, you know, EQing out that extra stuff I don't need. And then with the effect, it sounds like this. Just so it like, I don't know, it's just cool. It's just cool. And then all the drums together sound a bit like this. Just so you know, it's like, it's just cool. It's just cool to have the drums like that fill especially. And then I also added this one vocal chop in here just for like extra umph to the beat as well on that like switch up. And then with all of the beat sounds and the melody together, it sounds like this. That's pretty much the rest of it. Like, made the whole beat, made the drums, got the samples and stuff that I needed, and then really arranging it so like right here, the toms isn't right here. There's no toms right here. There's no toms throughout here. The toms only come in 3 times on the whole song. The 808 gets taken out, kick gets taken out, remove some stuff. Just really arranging so I can make the beat not just boring by itself. And then for the outro of the beat, I just added this one effect just to kind of, it's pretty much halftime, but it's like a free version of it. It's called, where is it? Inner. I add Deja Vu. Deja Vu is pretty much just like it's just a halftime, but it's free. And then I also added this inner pitch. It's like a replacement to Wave Shifter. It's like a free alternate to Wave Shifter. It's pretty much to where you can pitch the sounds down or up, and you don't have to like actually go into it. You can just kind of manually like play with it, and you can do a bunch of cool stuff with it. So I took both of those plugins together. Let me show them both. Took both of these, and then just added them together and automated it, and then I got this for the outro. Just put all of the beats like elements into those effects, and so once they go into that effect, it just like, you know, busts out and then fades. And then I have this automation so it only plays at the end, and then of course fade in and out. And then for the vocals are always simple for all of my songs. Not all of them, but most of the time the vocals are pretty simple. For this one specifically, I just did one main. The mains are like put on these 2 layers. So it's like the mains are just, you know, one take. And then from that, we do in and outs. And in and outs are just saying the last word of each bar. So it's like I'm saying the last words of things that I want to emphasis. So like, I'm proud of you, Brody. Trust me, I'm after you, Brody. and like you can hear the little emphasis on the.
You taking care of your family. I'm proud of you, Brody.
Like just so I can have more umph to it. And then on the hook, I added this little breath ad lib that isn't anywhere else on the song, just the hook. I guess you would call it the bridge because this part is the hook. The first part is the hook. That's why it repeats twice. And then this "I'm proud of me, I'm proud of us" part is just the bridge, kind of, to go into the verse, and then also end on.
Proud of me, I'm proud of us. No one gonna say it, but I'm proud of me, I'm proud of us. Look in the mirror, say I'm.
And then that's all the vocals, really. The mixes for that are straightforward. I take each bus and like main channel that has all the effects on it, and I put it on each sound because I change things very slightly. The bus is pretty simple for both. It's EQ, another EQ, a sound goodizer, just add that, I don't know, just the umph to it, I guess. I love saying umph, but it's just so it makes it fuller and it doesn't sound as empty. A de-esser to get rid of all them and the sounds that you don't want. And then a limiter to get rid of all like the flat noises that are at the bottom, like the static, the unnecessary breaths, stuff like that. Stuff that it doesn't need, just so it like makes it a bit cleaner. 2 compressors, not 1, but 2. So you can so the compression isn't all on one thing. I've heard and I've seen from how I do it that when it's multiple compressions, it makes it a lot less like hard compression and more of like a overall balanced compression. So using 2 compressors is really big. It'll help get that sound that you really want a whole lot easier than it normally would be. And then another EQ, just doing some more things, taking out what I don't want, boosting up what I do want. The same as the first 2, except it's just doing them both together. So it's a lot of a harder EQ. And then saturation, I don't know why I was gonna say saturation, but saturation for the same thing that it does, adding more like balance and not balance, but fullness to the mix. So it has that full feeling. It doesn't feel so empty and like hollow. It gives it like a solid grounding, and not a lot, just like a little, so it can add that fullness and like a little bit of warmth to it. And then finishing off from all of that mixing to another EQ, slightly boosting stuff. So yeah, that's the main bus. And then for the in and outs, it's the same thing, except the last EQ, instead of it adding stuff, it's taking out elements and giving it that like radio sound that you hear on the in and outs. So
I'm proud of you, Brody.
That's why that's not on the.
You taking care of your family. I'm proud of you, Brody.
It's just giving it like a different kind of sitting. Instead of having to pan it so it sits somewhere else, so it like frees up room. You EQ all of this like stuff out to kind of give it like this phone or like radio effect, to where it doesn't have the so much room and taking up so much space that it doesn't really necessarily need to take up. It also just makes it sound better, I feel like. And yeah, that is the entirety of I'm Proud of Us mixed and mastered. Well, not mastered. The mastering bus is a whole different file. You know what? I'll show you the mastering bus too. I can show you the mastering bus. So once I'm mastering, I tend to export the song and then take it out, put it into another file, so I could just have kind of the room and space. It's a lot of effects if I master it in the same thing as I mix the song, and it just makes it a lot easier. So I export it, take it out, listen to it again, make sure the mix is good, and then once I make sure the mix is good and I know it's good, we then come to mastering. And mastering for me isn't anything nuts. First, I start with this EQ that's built into the channel on FL, and I just decrease and take out a bit of the high end, like just a little, so it's not crazy. And then I start my master bus with an EQ, taking out stuff that makes the mix sound better, but not too much. The most that I would take out for like mastering is about a decibel, a dB, because most of the time you don't need to take out any more than a dB for songs once you master them. The mix is what you're really taking out all the bad stuff for. Once the master is really just cleaning up. And yeah, YouTube videos have taught me that. So the mastering is really just cleaning up, so I don't take out more than a dB usually. Another EQ, one that I can't see, so I can just like not visually, I can just hear if it's making it sound better or if it's making it sound worse. A lot of the time when I see an EQ, it's a lot harder to make it sound good because I'm focused on how it looks. So having one that I can't see anything and I just had to listen, it makes the mix come out a lot better. And then from that EQ that you can't see, I do, which was also a multi. I believe it's a multi EQ because it's like low, mid, and highs. It might not be though, but correct me on that. And then we go from that to a compressor. Not fully sure how this compression really works. I just know when I do it this specific way, it makes it sound better. I kind of learned from In the Mix, and the way In the Mix did it, it just sounded so good, and it was like an overall really good setting. So that's what I did with the mix on this compression, a clipper, so I can get to that point of volume that I want, but then also make sure that I'm not taking out, making it too much to where it's like not good anymore and it's just clipping and it's just distorting. We don't want that. So like raising the gain and then leveling it so it's not that like it sounds clear. And as you see, I'm not adding anything crazy like 2 dB, 1.8 dB. The ceiling is at 1 dB. It's just like mastering doesn't need that much. It just needs like subtle changes to make it better. Same thing with the saturation. It's nothing crazy. It's just something really subtle to add to the mix. And then Ozone doing its thing, added an EQ, dynamic something. They're just called dynamics here. And then a maximizer. From that we go to another compressor. Just adding more. Both of those compressors are light, as I said before. Multiple compressors makes it a lot more of a balanced mix. I can't remember what this does. Oh, it's a transient processor. So it's like you're taking out some of the like sounds that are, and I don't really know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to act like I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. I just learned it from In the Mix, and I understood what it was doing. Most of the time, I'm just really turning to see what gets good and what gets not. So I got this plugin. It's a free plugin. Most of the plugins that I use are free, except a couple. Some of them you do have to pay for, but yeah. You could do all the same stuff for free if you just learn how to actually use the said plugin. Anyway, so this transient processor, I use this and just kind of turn things up and down very lightly, just add extra fullness to it. And then a limiter to bring up the volume at the end and like just making it more balanced. So when the song comes out, it's at a good volume and it also is a good mix. And yeah, that is the song. That's the master, the recording, the beat, everything. I hope that was very informative. I try to give it like less editing, more just really learning. So I hope that brought some stuff to the table. I appreciate you motherfuckers heavily. Thank you for listening, and thank you for even watching. This is probably a long video. I know watching a whole breakdown is crazy, but yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Love you motherfuckers, and I'll see y'all in the next one for real. Love.